Hey guys, just finished watching Arrow season 6, episode 19, The Dragon. Oh wow, what an interesting episode. I mean, Stephen Amell is barely in this episode. He has like one scene in this episode. So it opens up this episode with Diaz wants a seat at the quadrant, at the table at the quadrant. Um, he goes through a lot of hoops. Black Siren is with him throughout the whole episode. We also jump between his storyline, and Felicity and Curtis working on their startup together. And it's interesting to see how the timeline goes by. I mean, his time goes all throughout the story, whereas their story takes place in only a couple of hours. You know, the Felicity and Curtis story doesn't really span the whole Felicity story. Kind of takes like a couple of hours, maybe 4 hours at most the whole time, whereas the other thing with Diaz is really not really taking that much time. So it's interesting playing with that. And we get Black Siren. We get Black Siren. She's doing a fight scene where she uses a screen to enter in the building to take that one guy that the FBI is holding, and it was just such a terrible fight scene. And I don't know why she doesn't just. Why fight anyone when you can scream, Why not just scream constantly and then just walk in the building screaming, and do that and just walk in, not stop screaming, and just every time you see one, that would be really cool. Kind of like a John Wick style fight scene, but instead of bullets, it's her scream, I think that would be cool. I hate how she just uses it, then goes and fighting. If you had a power like that, you never really would fight. Why know how to fight when you can just scream the whole way? So I think it would be more cool to see that, because there were a lot of times with this in the fight scene, it was kind of terrible because you could just see her grabbing the stunt person and just gently bumping them into the wall type thing, and it wasn't look like she was grabbing them and tossing them in the wall. It wouldn't make sense, if she was Supergirl or whatever, and she's able to pick them up and throw them full force into the wall, or she has super strength to be able to lift them up, but she doesn't, and you could see it, and it was just kind of terrible. It was just, she wasn't doing anything to them. She was just grabbing them, throwing them into the wall. She didn't have a gun her own self, and I don't know why she wasn't just screaming at everyone, and just little chirps and stuff that were just enough to launch them across the room, knock them out, kill them, whatever. It would have been way more cooler to see that. So it was cool to seeing her the way she did it, but that one fight scene was just kind of weird because there's a few times where she just grabbed people by their vests and just bumped them into the wall, and it didn't look like it was enough to really kind of knock them out or even anything like that. She was just kind of gently tossing people towards the wall so that they bump into it. It was just very bad, that one scene. We get Diaz gets shot, betrayed by the one guy who's going through him, by Eric Cartier Jr., and one of the sons of the quadrant leaders, and he gets shot by him because they betrays him and all that stuff, and then Diaz goes back and is getting his revenge because he wore a suit. He wore a bulletproof vest, which is weird. Ricardo Diaz goes through the whole FBI people and shoots all of them, which was kind of cool seeing him do that. And he shoots through a bunch of them, shooting them square in the chest with right in their bulletproof vest, and they go down. Yet he gets shot a few times with a more powerful gun, a machine gun, rather than just his little handgun. And that doesn't kill him. So it's just kind of it just seems a bit, those guys were FBI agents. They should be trained to withstand a little bit of pain. I mean, I know it hurts a lot to get shot through the stuff. He just should have been, at least in some sort of pain, internal bleeding, some sort of bruising, because it just didn't make sense how he shrugs it off like he never got got hit in the stomach with a baseball, that's it, whereas they, the guys, the FBI agent who he shot in a bulletproof vest, are on the ground with internal bleeding and, out of commission, right? Whereas he was able to get right back up after it. So there was just kind of inconsistencies in this episode that really didn't bother me there. But he ends up going back and getting his revenge by having, having Black Siren there and having her kind of scream around at people and stuff. It was really cool. I'd like to see her use her powers a little bit more. I think it was cool seeing him later on, how he ends up using it. He ends up using that guy to blow up and get into the table, get his seat at the table. It would have been cool to see Black Siren using her powers to kind of really like blow someone up. It would be really cool to see that. But Blackest Iron ends up comparing Diaz to Zoom, and when she does that, she kind of he says that the dragon he controls the dragon, where the dragon doesn't control him when he talks about his feelings and stuff. So Diaz ends up getting a seat at the table, by taking the young guy and strapping a bomb to him, blowing everyone up, and getting into the table, getting a seat at the table that way. Felicity is worrying about Oliver, but he ends up just kind of consoling her. But it doesn't really seem like he's really doing a good job. He's saying that he just promises that he'll always be back, which that'll be fun to play with that as things go on, because he really doesn't. A promise is one thing, saying something is one thing, but it's not in his hands, and it's in the hands of people who are attacking him, he's going after, right? So I think that's going to be cool to see that as things go on for this episode. So because it really doesn't solve that problem, but it'll be interesting. So and then at the end we end it with Diaz burning his childhood bully and stuff, 'cause now that he's made it, he has his seat at the table and stuff. So that'll be interesting to see where things go with this. It was an interesting episode dealing with a whole villain episode. I think it would have been cool to seeing if they had done this throughout the whole season of Arrow. Go back and forth, give us some more personality on the character. I think that would have been quite interesting doing that, or half and half of the seasons being like this. I think that could have been cool, doing stories like this rather than dealing with other kind of stories. So it's really going to be cool to see where things go with this. And I like this idea of this episode was okay. It was clearly just a cheaper episode, and like I said, some of those stunts and the shooting and stuff didn't make sense. And the inconsistencies with some people getting shot just because they're not a main character. They getting shot in the vest really takes them all out. But other places it does. Like, it just would have been better to, if it had, there were more consistencies as to, why he was able to walk up, get up right after getting shot, and the other guys, all the FBI agents that he shot with a lesser powerful gun is not, I know he shot them a lot closer and stuff, but still, he got shot, and it doesn't make sense. It would have been cool for that to make sense. Maybe if they explained that he had a special, secret, maybe he got a super duper vest type thing that's not even tested yet. It's kind of prototype, really early stages or something. That's how he protected himself with, because it's a special new thing or something. They didn't even set that up, so it would have been cool to see that and fixing some things. A Black Siren fight scene that was bad. But other than that, on its own, this episode was interesting. It has an 8.5 on IMDb. I'm gonna give it more of a 7. A 6.5, maybe probably 6.5 for this episode. I like the idea that they're doing with it, the idea of it all being the bad guys episode. But since we're so late in the season, it just kind of seems like it's just kind of wasting our time, because who knows if it is going to have anything to do with the season final. Is this table going to come, the quadrant going to come into play? I think they should have set this up a long time ago, and they should have done this throughout the whole season. We'll have to wait and see where things are going with this, but it wasn't okay. But it still kind of feels like, even though it literally deals with the bad guy and the main, the protagonist and the antagonist in the story, it kind of still kind of feels like it's a filler episode, because they're still just going after Ricardo Diaz. So we'll see where things go with it in the next episode. I think we do have an episode next week. And then we are episode 19, so we got 20, and we're going to 23. So we have about 4 more episodes left for the season. So it's going to be interesting to see where things go with this. Definitely can't wait to see where things going. We got the confirmation last week that Roy Harper will be coming back to the show, returning as a regular character. So that'll be fun to see that. It'll be fun to see how things go with that, and how things kind of continue on from here. How they have to set him up to becoming season regular for season 7 coming next year. So that'll be cool to see that. I definitely can't wait to see where things going. This episode looks kind of okay. We'll have to wait and see. I haven't checked the trailers for next week's episode, so I'll have to wait and see that. But this episode, like I said, is 6.5, because it was a 6.5, more like I'll probably give it a 7, because it was a good idea. It's just there's a few points that were just kind of like, ugh, that looked so fake and terrible. So and some inconsistencies. So other than that, it was okay an episode. So Let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below. Season 6, Episode 19, The Dragon. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.